Can everybody hear me? Good. Okay. We sounded good? We good? Yes? Okay. Just making sure. If I could tell you there was a catastrophe that happened doing this Sass today, it wouldn't be fitting because, cameras lighting everywhere and new location in my shop. So I apologize for the way things look, but it's because your girl got the wrong wire. So let me just let me show you what it looks like. Normally, I don't show you guys all the things when it comes to how I do my videos, right? But this is what we're having to do. I got to poke that up there. I've got my tripod here. You guys are on here. I'm on my computer. I've got, and now you know. Okay, so this is how it is when you're trying to figure out all the things, right? All the things for your live, how you're going to do it. So don't think that I don't think about this stuff. I do. Happily. So I can see all the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching me. This is the Sass for, I think it's July 14th. I can't believe we're already halfway through the year and we are doing Christmas in July. That is right. We're doing our Christmas in July and today is for RREM distributors. It's only me here at the Sass. I have nobody in the back office. So I will try to do the best I can to answer your comments and your questions, which means I might have to actually get on the old spectacles just to see what y'all are saying. Hello, hello, hello from everybody. So we are going to be doing all things RREM. If you look at the stuff behind me, these are some of the things that Randy has made for me for her pink zebra line, but it's also stuff that she carries in her shop. If you didn't know, she sells tumblers. She makes MDF goods. You will guys see this board change. This is actually for a game that I play, but you know what? I figured it's a great display board for the things because you guys are always looking. Don't worry, this will also go away over time, but we're here for it. You're at least getting all the goods. So today we are going to be subbing two things that people kind of dread the most when it comes to substrates, and that is the 18-inch round. Yes, your girl is piecing today. Not a fan. 10 out of 10. Don't recommend. Actually, it's not that bad. And I really just want to make sure that you guys just know how to piece. Piecing is really just not hard. It seems it can be complicated, but it's really not all that bad. What I am going to do is because this does not fit on my printer or on my press, right? We're going to try to do something that I haven't done. And so that's why I like to do it. Nikki, what if I don't have a board? How do I press this without a board and still do what I need to do? Well, we're going to try it. You know what? Because I want you to see why having the board can be absolutely important. So I'm going to do this without the board. Yes, my press right now is set for 385 for 60 seconds. It is a 16 by 20 fancier studio. I'm using what you're using it right out of the gate. Okay. I decided I didn't want some big fancy press. I wanted to do this one. After my big fancy press died, I had to hurry up and get a new one. And well, this one, I've had it for a few years now. And why fix what's not broken? So 16 by 20 fits your studio press it is. We're also going to be doing a Santa sack. And on this Santa sack, I'm going to show you a few ways how you can add the name after the fact. That's right. We're going to press these, and let's say you're at a vendor show, but you can't personalize them, but you want to do them. You want to have the design on it and have it ready to go. So I have printed this 13 by 19, and the size of the lettering when we get to it, we'll reiterate it, is 7 by 2. So we will be doing this as well. I'm taking on the hard stuff today, so let's just dive right on in. Where did my camera go? Oh, I got to bring it up. What up if I added it to the thing? Ay. Look, there it is. How fun. Okay. I'm also going to be, so besides these two types of substrates, which are your soft substrates, I am going to be subbing today the ladder leaner. So this is about 11 inches in height. We're also going to do the message board and the ornament, just to name a few other things. Those are all, again, by RREM distributors. All right. So first things first, let's move stuff out of the way. you need to lint roll your stuff. Now, whether you use a sticky lint roller or you use your 3M velvet one, it doesn't really matter. I do use both, and I will explain why, the significance of both of them. So we do use our sticky lint roller, right? We're going to get the new sheet off because I don't know about you, I leave mine all dirty until I need a clean sheet. All right. Because why have a new sheet? To have all the lint in your shop go all over it, right? Da, 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 da. Oddly satisfying. Okay, so we have a clean sticky roller. Now, I could sticky lint roll it first, and a lot of people do that. But for me, I like my velvet one. The reason I like my velvet one is because it acts like little fingers. It pulls against the fibers and it gets those blue little fibers out. Now, is it a fail-safe? Absolutely not. Okay. But I will go through and push against this really nice and hard. Okay. I do not want to pre-press this until I have, that's right, lint rolled it, or you're going to make those fibers turn blue long before you press it. Now, here's also a thing. Do you have to if it's full on color and it's dark and all the things? No, but if you're gonna have white spots in there, yes, you definitely should. But if you're just putting a name on it, lint roll the whole thing. You're gonna see this is a full on colored design that we're doing today of plaid. Would it be important that I do it? Probably not. Although the center is cream, I am just doing it as a fail-safe. Some people will tell you, no, they don't. Other people are going to say, yes, they do. So again, you see how I'm just going all the way around it. Now, it's not important for me on this particular substrate to lint roll the back. Why? Because we're not pressing it. If we were, yes, I would. I would have definitely lint rolled it. Now, that's one way. You could go back, forth, whatever it is. Next, just to get any of those fibers or those blue lint fibers that are sticking up from that lint roller, right? So we get all of that. Okay, done. Now it's probably going to be hard to see, but you might be able to. You see all the red? You didn't see that there was any red on here, but I got to tell you, look at all the red that came off of there. Let's just pretend that red were all those blue spots that we dread. Okay, so this is the prime reason why we sticky lint roll and why we velvet lint roll. Now, I am going to tell you, I do untie this for a variety of reasons, because you can tie it, you can untie it. It really is up to you. I like to keep it untied, but I tape it in the back just because if there is a knot, and depending how I decide to piece this and press this, I don't want it to be an issue to have a knot there. And then we have an issue of, some pressure issues. So what do? Bring these to the back, flip her over, lay it all out flat. Then I take my tails and we tape them down flat. Because this ribbon is nice and thin, I just didn't want a knot or a bow to get in the way. And because sometimes that it can sneak up through that crack, and we don't want that either. So we're just going to make sure this is all taped down. Next up, we're going to tape the seam. So I do go in and I tape the seam because, again, depending on how I decide to piece this, it's going to be the difference of me struggle bussing it or not struggle bussing it. So we're just going to tape our seam together. You know what? There is no such thing as too much tape. I just want you to know. All right. Now that we've got all of our tape, nice, we've got it. Okay. So now what I want to do, give it a pre-press. So I'm going to stick this in, and now this is where I'm going to decide how I want to do it because there is going to be a line. So what I might do, depending on how I pre-press it, you don't want to have a lot of pressure, but you don't want to have not enough pressure. You know what I mean? So this is a good time. That was not clearly enough. So you want to have enough pressure to where you're closing it. All right. And pressure is good to figure out before you press the item. A lot of times I will tell you, I forget and go, okay, let me do a test. Well, I've already started heating it. When your heat press is already up to like 385 and you go to do a test pre-press, that test pre-press can definitely cause issues, like already starting to sub. So now that we've got this side, I like that pressure. Let's try it again. because I have the seam in the way. 10 seconds is minimum on most pre-pressures. You can add more depending on the item. Now, is this a squish the heck out of me kind of conversation? No, but it's pretty close. I'm not saying catapult the thing across the universe. What I am saying is it's pre-press it enough with a little bit of firm pressure, not quite medium. You definitely want to make sure that you have what you need. All right, slide it over. So that's what it looks like. Now it's nice and pressed out. I want to give you a pro tip. Let me go get my pro tip. Hold on. Here it is. Pro tip. So I printed my design on the red ones are 18.5 inches wide. After you pre-press them, guess what? It gets bigger. So we're going to see how much bigger it got. So when I pre-pressed before, it was 18.5. And now it is riding at 18.75. So we'll see. I might have an edge. Let's just call it what it is. All right, let's get to the paper. So when you're talking about pre-pressing and pressing stuff, there are a couple different methods that you could use with this. First, we have to trim up this edge. All right. Now, if you're going to be pressing this as all one thing, or you're going to be using the board method, then you're going to want to piece these together. But because we're not using the board method, because a lot of people don't understand what that is, don't worry. We'll be teaching it again. I don't want to be stepping on my papers. Hold, please. All right. So the board method that I do is I have a board that's bigger than my substrate. What it does is it lays here so that my area could lay flat. This all lays flat, and all I have to do is turn my board. It makes life so much easier because then you don't have dripping papers. You don't have to try to match up the lines. This is why the board method was created, was because it made my life so much easier. But I'm going to show you what happens when you don't have the board method. Okay, so we're just going to cut the thing. First things first, let's move things out of the way. Let me see where the comments are. Thank you. As I say, Jody, are you going to join me in the back, or are you going to stay out here? All right. So what I want to do is I want to trim this up. Use yourself. That's not going to be working. We got to bring out the big guns. This guy right here. Okay. So you want to line this up as close as you possibly can without having any of the white. Okay. Then what you want to do is get yourself a straight edge of some sort. Come on. Trim it up, okay? So now what this does is it gives me a nice perfect edge so that when I go to butt up this next piece, because we're going to do this separately, we want to make sure that it's a nice crisp edge. So now let's do the other one because we're prepping. We might as well prep it all together. All right. Again, right up to this edge with just ever so slightly. It hung over, not too much, because remember, we're going to be playing Russian roulette here because after I pre-press it, it grew. Okay. Whoops. Perfect. Okay. These can get thrown away. All right. So now I have what I call the perfect edge. Let's put this away so we don't hurt ourselves. This goes away and this goes away. Okay. So now let's bring this over. Now you could go with this two different ways. If you don't want to struggle bus it, right? Because you're afraid that there's going to be a seam right here. You could go right here. Okay. And it depends on how much you want to struggle bus it. Now, for me, I might try this because there's a lot more white on this side. It might be a little bit more forgiving. Depending on the design that you use, it might not be so forgiving. But you know what? Let's try it. So I'm going to run my seam right up against this instead of going it this way, which I definitely could, and run the seams this way. So actually, let's take a vote in the comment section right now. Do you want me to go horizontal or vertical? First answer will get me to do what I need to do. And I'm going to go get my water. Anybody? Vertical. She wants me to do it. Okay. All right, Patty. Patty says vertical. First one to win that one. Okay. So we are going to press this vertically, which means this seam is going to run right on here. We're going to line this all up. To tell you that I am not a little bit nervous would be an understatement. Now, what I want to do is flip this real quick. Lay this here. There is a method to this madness. Now, so that I don't move things for a hot second, I am going to tape this to my board. It's hard to see me do this, but I'm going to take this. I don't want this paper to move because this. Now, this is where my seam is going to be, right in this front. So I might want to see how it's going to lay out. I'm going to lay it down. And this way I can adjust this. Oh, this is going to be tight. Oh boy. The beautiful thing about fabric is you can stretch it and manipulate it so that it fits what it needs to do. So we're going to just tape down our papers real quick because we don't want to struggle moving this and pulling on the substrate as we try to tape this down. Okay. Now, could you use a spray? Absolutely, you could. You could use any of the sprays. I use a basting spray is what I typically use when I'm spraying on my substrates. So this is the edge I'm worried about on this side. On this side, I'm going to be really hard pressed on this side. So we're going to stretch it just a little. But you know what? You're here for it and I'm here for it. So let's start up here. Tape this down. And I will show you a little bit of a trick in a second. I'm just taping this down to try to get this as close as I can. So what you probably I should have done is made this at like 18.95, and then this would have probably fit because this is at 18.75. That's going to be my only downfall. But you know what? We're going to go for it. Move this all onto this. All the way around and start manipulating it because you know this one edge is going to give you a problem up on this one side. Okay, so you're just going to tape it down. Wait till you see this little doodad of a trick in about 2 seconds. Because you're like, Nikki, what happens if it comes off? Don't worry, I got you. So now that this is taped where I want it, I'm going to pull the tape off of this one and pull this tape up off of here and pull this one up and fold this one back. Okay. Then what I'm going to do, you know that spray I told you about? Yeah, let's do it. Okay. We're going to just lift the hood and spray inside so that it does not move. Okay. Now I have a better shot of this sucker not moving. Okay. Now over here, let's move the camera just ever so slightly so you can see what I'm doing. So on here is my heat press. You always protect it with butcher paper. The butcher paper, top and bottom. We talk about this. It's a burrito. All right. We protect the investment on the bottom and we protect the investment on the top. And that was actually a little too short for my liking. Get some longer ones. Pro tip, save your butcher paper. Shred it up and use it as packaging material. It's a great way to reuse, reduce, and recycle. And it makes it kind of colorful when it's all color, has all the bleed on it. All right, so we know it's right where it needs to be. Take this up, fold that tape back. Take this up, fold the tape back. 2 hands, layer in. Now, luckily, I know that my press is big enough for the 1/2. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to protect that investment further by adding what? That's right, butcher paper. So add your butcher paper on here, drop it like it's hot. You know it is. We're going to let this run. Oops, what happened? Where are you? Hold on. I don't know where you all went. It timed out. How is it doing that? What in the world is it doing? There we go. I have no idea what it's doing. Or, oh, you know what? Because it kept hitting the wall. The power source is on the wall. There we go. So there's that. Okay. So these right here. I got to be honest with you. There's a reason why I don't sell blanks is because I am a bougie pampered princess who has spent many years getting stuff made for her. Now, I don't know where my 3D Puff Pro tool is because that is the tool that, no, I do know where it is. It's over there. You use that to peel this off. I'm going to let it sit for a hot second. Let's finish peeling these real quick. So you grab your 3D Puff Pro tool, which is somewhere because you all know you have one. And if you don't have one, my question is why don't you? And of course, mine is in the missing. I can't be the only one who misses where their 3D Puff Pro tool is, ever. But I do have one. I've got like 5 of them. Only when I need it. Okay, so just grab this corner wherever you need to. Your 3D Puff Pro tool will work for this. Much better than my nails currently. Okay, make sure you get it all off. Now this is single-sided. I did clean it. Yes, I cleaned my own blanks. If you know, you know. If I ever sold blanks, they would come in a dirty bag and y'all would have to do it for yourselves because I won't do it. Because I'll be a pampered princess. All right. And the last one. So like I said, this is a shelf cleaner. It does not come with feet on this. Now the e.l.f. Message board does come with feet. You can also use it as a magnet if you want. You could possibly use a hanger on it, a ribbon hanger if you wanted to hang it from your tree. I'll show you where you can put that, and it's just how you loop it on there. Really, it's up to you, but it's meant to have a message come from the elf himself. You know, that Santa's helper person. Yep, it's meant to do that so that you can send messages. Hey, let's go build a cotton ball snowman. All right, these are prepped and ready. Okay, it looks like it's okay. I'm not having heart failure, but I will say, I don't know if you could see it, there is off gassing on here, so we would not be reusing this paper because it will feed onto our stuff. So into the garbage it goes. Now, could you use that on like something else? Maybe you could, but you know what? Not on stuff you really care about. All right, so let's pull this off. Yep, knew that was going to happen. Remember I said that edge? It's because it rolled over. So next time, what you should do, and this is why I like to do these things. One, because it's been a hot minute since I've done these, just like all of you. I mean, Christmas was only 7 months ago, but we were probably making these a lot earlier than that. And we tend to forget our process. So pro tip, pre-press it first, measure it, and then print out your items. This way, you don't have to worry about this issue right here, okay? But let's keep going. Now, see? Off gassing. All right, so now we're going to take that second piece. All right, now could you just roll this under and fold it? And you could, but you know, hey. All right, so here is that second piece. Now, to tell you that I'm not nervous, it's an understatement. Okay, so first things first, I got to find that edge. So let's do this backwards. We know that this is a crisp edge. Okay, and unfortunately, what you're going to have to do is line it up. The nice part is I can see my image through this paper, so I can see if it is. And you're like, Nikki, you're giving me heart failure. Yeah, I'm giving myself heart failure if that makes you feel any better in about 2 seconds. Okay, this edge isn't such a big deal because this is this bottom edge right here is where that seam is. So this is a little bit more forgiving if you do it in this direction. And because there's cream in here, you're welcome for that part of the design. I'm just going to line it up the best that I can because again, this is such a rich color design. I can see it right through my paper. If you're wondering what paper I'm using the HTV Ront paper. So I have set out on this quest to use different types of paper because no two papers are the same. And so far, I'm loving it. I ran out of my printer jack, needed something, and it was back ordered. So I was like, crap, what am I going to do? And well, here we are. All right, we're going to get this all. Whew, I'm sweating bullets over here. And it's not just because it's hot in my shop and I turned off the fan. Okay, we're good. We're good, right? We're good. All right. I think she's good. We're going to heavily tape that seam. And I say heavily, but I just really want to make sure that it doesn't pop up, because when I go to flip this over, okay, tape it down here in the center. Yes, it matches all of my decor. We're just going to tape right over this seam. One, to keep it onto this, and two, well, you know. So, all right, flip her over. We've got that one side. Now we've got to manipulate this enough to where, ooh, she's going to be funsies. Okay. So you see what I'm doing? You're like, what are you doing? So I'm going in here and I'm picking up this edge a little bit, a little spray, and I'm pushing it right where I want it. Okay. And then I'm taking this and I'm going in towards the center. And the reason for that is because this is a lot of white in this center. Okay. Very forgiving. So this side looks like it's going to come back out the way I want it to, where the other side, it had rolled and it made it kind of, so me problem, not a big deal. Okay. Put the paper down. All right. So now let's do this second side. Now I didn't tape it because I sprayed it, but you know, ooh. But we are going to do a little bit because I was able to spray this one a lot more than I did the other side. Again, this is going to really stay. Okay. Now, let's talk about this on the press. I need to have this come as close as I can. Can I give you another pro tip? Get yourself some tape, because you know your press is going to hit this whether you like it or not. Okay, because if you come all the way to the edge, you could possibly, quite possibly, I should say, miss how this, oh, that's gotta, hold on. I noticed an issue. There we go. Okay. What I noticed is that you can go like this. Take a long couple pieces of tape and protect that. You're going to be putting picture paper over the top of it. Don't get me wrong. So let's just protect this a little bit. Okay. With your heat tape. You're still going to have to come right to this edge the best that you possibly can. Again, this is a flaw in this. Could you have draped this part down? You could have, but then what happens with this one? It creates an odd angle if you have this one attached, detached, and this one not. So what I'm going to do, put this on. I want to run my butcher paper literally right up to that edge where I know it's supposed to be so that it matches the bottom of my heat press. Okay. Let's drop it like it's hot. Looks like she's all in under there. I hope. Let's hope. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. So we have this absolutely adorable Santa sack design. Oh, my printer got a little weird. Okay, don't worry about that. We'll deal with that later. Don't mind the smudge, because smudges happen. Okay, you would reprint this, but I want to show you how to put the name on afterwards. So ignore the smudge. All right. So what you're going to want to do is, this is your design. The name can go in here and it's 7-2. How you do it on spot is how I'm going to show you. So let's just pretend this is a perfect design, and this perfect design is going to do its thing. Okay. First things first, you got to get yourself a Santa sack. So because let's move this all out of the way, don't have a huge space here, and these guys are long. Let me explain to you the length on these. You get a lot of bang for your buck. Hold, please. You stay put. Okay, let's measure. All right, these guys are almost 28 inches long by approximately 18 inches wide. And I'm putting a 13 by 19 sheet on here. You know what we got to do. Lynch roll. Now, I will tell you, you have to lint roll both sides because this is a two-sided thing. You want to make sure you get all the lint roll. Could you use your velvet one? Absolutely, you know I will. Okay, but right now we're getting off any of the schmutz that might be on here. I'll go back through. I really want this because there's going to be a lot of white area. I want to give it a sticky. I want to give it a velvet and then maybe a sticky again if I'm feeling just a little bit about it. Okay, now for the velvet. Let's get in here. Okay. Flip her over. Why wouldn't you put the butcher paper past the edge of the press? Honestly, what it does is it allows me to know where that edge is. So I'm not sticking my substrate in too far and then having issues of it off-gassing and whatnot. I'm trying not to put any more heat on an already existing area because it can cause it to fade. So by having the butcher paper come to the edge, I know where the edge of my heat press is. So I can look visually. If I had it sitting all the way over, like, here, I'll show you. If I had it visually sitting like this, I might not realize where that edge is. So when I'm trying to put this underneath, I could unintentionally put my substrate in under here and press it again, and with the possibility of it off gassing again. And now I could create a what they call like a light spot in that area, and we don't want that. Hope that answers your question. Honestly, it's just a trick and a guide that I use. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a fail safe, like it has to, you know, it's not that. It's just something, it's a trick I learned. All right. So there's this. Yes, we'll pre-press it. First, let's see what the damage is. Whew. All right. Slide her off. Paper's on the floor. There we go. Perfect. All right. So, as I was stating, by having this tape here, one, it's protecting this from this off-gassing onto this if the heat touches this, okay? And then what this does is by having your paper right up to here, I'm not going to accidentally put this back in underneath. Yes, you're going to put a little bit, but you don't want it so far in. And like I said, the butcher paper was just there as a guide. Now I'm going to peek under the hood before y'all see, because I don't know how good I did. Okay, we like. Think it didn't do too bad. I could have moved it over a little bit. Okay, I'll point out my flaws. Okay, so slight flaw is I could have moved this over just a little slightly over. That's a me flaw. Once you realize that is your flaw, you're great. Now, could you have taped these two together and pre-pressed them? Yes, you could have. But again, without the board, you run this risk. Okay, let's put this back on here. All right, you see how this droops over? Well, if you have your paper and it's drooping over, when you go to slide this or turn this, your fabric changes and it shifts, and we don't want it to do that. Once you have it on here, you really just want to be able to do what it needs to do and then do it. So that's why we don't like to have our paper drooping over the edge, our sublimation paper, because again, especially on a substrate as a soft substrate, it could cause a whole host of issues. And we're trying to cut down on those issues. So again, that's why the board method is a really good idea, to have one so that you can put it on here. Let me see if my board's right here. Let me see where I stuck my board. I have my big board. I don't know where my little board is at the moment. But I have a little board and a big board, one for one, one for the other. All right, so that is the reasoning behind that. I hope that makes sense. All right, there we go. There she is. She be pretty. Only minor flaw, like I said, was that for me. And this. There's a little bit of a weird. What is that? I don't even know what that is. It's a weird, funky thing. Interesting. And this right here is also an issue for me. But again, I would perfect it and know how I need to do it based on the things that I have in my shop. Anything that I teach you here on the Sass is based on stuff that I've learned and how I accommodated or how I fixed how I needed to do things. Hence the board method, because I didn't want to struggle bus it so much. I needed to cut down. If I was already piecing and I was going to have to double press, I needed to cut down something so that it made it less hectic for me. So how you do your thing is completely up to you. You could take any of the tips and tricks that I teach you here on the Sass and use them in your own shop, revamp them so it fits your needs. Let's move on. Okay, next up is this guy right here. We've already done the thing. Okay, now just for my own peace of mind, and I didn't do it before, but we're going to do it now. My own peace of mind, I would like to put a piece of butcher paper over the top of this. Normally I do when I pre-press. When I pre-press something, I like to put a piece of paper over the top because you never know what's on the top of your press. I lucked out on that last one, but I can't say as I would be so lucky on this one. So I would like to pre-press the area into which I'm going to put said design. Drop it down, let it shrink. Now, these bags do shrink ever so slightly, so I'm not adding any real pressure to it. I'm just pre-pressing. I'm going to shift it a little bit because I like to make sure that it looks nice. I don't want a big, huge square. There's going to be already a big, huge square, but we just want to shrink it up a little bit, make it look crisp. Okay. Switcheroo around, down. Okay. Get out all the wrinkles. Thank you so much. Okay, and one last is this guy, and it's the top. Now, I will tell you, I won't necessarily do the top, this one where the string is. I'll bring it right over to the edge because it doesn't matter. You don't want it on there anyway. Drop it down like it's hot. Okay, now we have it where we want it. If you want to know where the center is, fold and then fold. Take a pinch it together. That's your center. Lay it out. Now you know where your center is, and that's how you know where your design's got to go. Okay, the center of your design. Again, let's do this on our piece of paper. This is a full sheet. Remember, there is a little smudge on there. I'm not going to sit here and reprint it, but I will cut off this edge that looks like it got crazy. So I will trim up my edge a little bit because of the fact that I do see that there was a printer issue, but I'm going to show you how to, again, this is for me to show you how to add a name after. You're like, how do you add a name after, Nikki? Well, that's a lot of times you can. A lot of times you can add a name after, depending on if you just know how to use it. So first things first, take your paper, find out where the center is, pinch. Take your paper again, find out where your center is, and pinch. And now you'll know. And knowing's at the battle. Okay. Now I'm going to try to line them up as best that I can. I'm just laying this down. I'm not taping it. Nothing. Okay, it's a Santa sack. All right. Does this have to be absolutely perfect? No. No, it's not. It's going to come out once a year. Okay. So you do not have to make this perfectly centered. Some of you will say, I'm not telling us it's not perfectly centered. There's a lot of things out in retail America that's not centered. That is not perfect. Stop being so hard on yourself. Okay, drop it like it's hot because it is. Okay, leave her go. Now, we're going to pretend, where's my papers? I have them. Where did it go? Where did it go? There it is. We're going to pretend that we need to add a name to it. We're now at a vendor show. We're going to come right in through here. We're going to come up here. We're going to trim this all up as tight as I can to this wording. There's a reason for this madness and what I'm about to tell you. Because how I do it is I put basically foam underneath. I will layer it so that it raises it up higher, and then we go from there. How are you guys doing your fine Sunday? You will see me press these all at the same time because they're all MDF. We got about 10 seconds left. So you guys have any questions in the comments, please, by all means, ask them. I would love to hear from you. I want to know what you're thinking. Do you want to see more tutorials? Do you want to see me do the board method? All right. Gently. When you open up your heat press, you need to gently open up your heat press. Don't just wong it open. And if you've got an auto open, hold it and let it open, because sometimes what happens is this paper comes up and drops right back down, causing it to have off-gassing, off-shadowing, and all of that stuff. Okay. So remember, I told you there were schmutz all over this. We talked about it. Okay. Otherwise, it's uber cute. Okay. She's uber cute. These do come in 4 different color hairstyles. So this one is the blonde. All right. But I will show you. I mean, look at that. That is a 13 by 19. It fills that space beautifully. All right. So 13 by 19s fill that approximately 28 by 18 space beautifully. Do you have to worry about it? Now I have a few designs where you can add names, you can move things. This is the new one because Randy wanted all things elves. Okay. So now you're at your vendor show and you want to add a name. I could tell you the name that fits the size is 7 by 2. Okay. What you're going to want to do, and there's a couple ways you could go about this. If you don't have foam, you can actually use a rolled up t-shirt. Just fold it up. But we're going to use some of Marvin's towels. So be right back. Whoops. Wrong one. Okay. So I need to create a space here that's higher because I don't want this to be pressed again, right? I don't want it to be under the press. So I know my paper is, and I'm going to do a couple different folds and rolls here. And then you're going to see me do something kind of crazy. Okay. Folds and rolls. Okay. So I know that this guy will fit on here. Wait. There it is. A piece of scrap board. What? Put that on there. Now you've created a bottom base for this, okay? You need it to be kind of on the, so I'm going to go right in like this. Go like this. And now it's got a slight cushion underneath. It's nice and firm that you're going to need, okay? So now you have that. We're going to come in here because this isn't going to actually touch anything. Lay it out. Make sure that board is right where you're going to want it. You might have to shimmy it a little. You're going to want to tape it down. Now, do you have to do it this high of a block? Not really. You just want to make sure that it's going to definitely droop down so that the less is going to touch this, okay? So you want the least amount to have to touch this. I want to move this over. There we go. Okay. Yes, some of it is going to touch. Could you create something that's only about 3 by, we'll say 7.5, and then it sits on there? Yes, you absolutely could. But if it's on a whim, and this is how you decide to do it, my suggestion, definitely make sure you put a board in here somewhere underneath that riser you're going to create underneath this, okay? So now let's put our butcher paper on here. I'm going to hold it. okay, because I did not change the pressure on this one. I'm going to hold it because I don't know how it's going to squish because of that, those two towels I rolled. So I'm going to sit here, and while yes, you could sit here, this would be a great thing. You're going to hear me say it, right? You ready for this? A great thing for like a Cricut press. Okay. I'm opening this up as tight as I can as it goes down, just to see if I could close it and open it. There we go. Leave it. This is me knowing my press. Now, should you adjust the pressure as you do it? I never stopped pressing on this. I pressed on this so hard as I'm adjusting it so that I knew that it could still keep the same pressure. Will it cause an issue? 9 times out of 10, it doesn't for me. But again, I have been doing this a long time, and this is my press. So I've learned this inside and out. You have to go and learn yours. Again, create a riser, add a piece of wood, put a light piece of fabric over that wood just to give it a little bit of cushion, because that's what your foam is on the bottom here. Has a little bit of cushion, a little bit of give. And then this way you can do it. Here's hoping. So I'm going to lift up the hood. Not too shabby. Our girl might actually know what she's doing. And just like that, I added the name right on spot. Okay, so again, create a riser. Make sure there's a piece of wood. And again, what I did was I took 2 of the 11 by 18 towels here, rolled them. There's a pocket, put the board in here and put 1 layer of this fabric to protect it. Okay, 1, because the wood could sometimes sweat. You never know. Okay, again, this is allowing me how to do this on spot. If I wanted to do a bunch of these ahead of time, I absolutely could. Now you're saying, Nikki, those dreaded lines again. You're right. You're here for it, right? You could go in really quick after it's done and go like this to that spot. Okay. And then you could take your velvet lint roller and go over that. So we'll do that real quick. Let me move this guy out of the way. Okay. So now you could take your velvet lint roller, because there's a square here, and just go in the opposite direction. Fluff her up a little bit. Give her some love. Okay. And what it does is it helps to get rid of that mark. And there you go. That is how you can add a name to something after it's been pressed. And I can tell you, I am definitely looking to see if there was any issues in my printing, and see if it off gassed, and see if there was any like lightness happening from it. It didn't happen. And you know what? I'm thankful. Let me just check my paper too. A little bit on the paper. It's hard to see on this camera. I know it is, but I could see just ever so lightly a line of the outline of the little spot. So it now lets you know. Okay, so the knowing is the power here. All right. Last up. First, let's bring this heat press back down. Okay. Now, as a reminder, anything over 6 to 8 inches, we like to pre-press. I'm just going to throw these all in the heat press. Okay. MDF can sweat. And with way it is so hot in this country and the humidity is so high, what we want to do is pre-press our MDF. All right. There is nothing wrong with pre-pressing our MDF. Now I will put, because it's going to sweat. I know it's going to sweat. I'm going to put some paper on the bottom because I know it's going to sweat. Lay this all out. Okay. Put your paper on the top, because just in case. Great time. Check our pressure. Perfect. I'm going to let this go for longer than 10 seconds because it is so humid outside. This is what you want to do for any of your MDF products, is pre-press it. Do I have to do it in the wintertime? Not necessarily, but in the summer, oh, yes, you do. So we are going to give this a good solid 30-second pre-press because it is so humid. And if you live in a humid climate, go ahead and do it for a minute. It's not going to hurt it, okay? All it's going to do is help it to print better. All right. So protect my investment. Yes, guess what? She found her gloves. In doing this whole shop remodel, which I love, by the way. It took me a long time to get used to the shop being like this. All right. Pick her up. Any moisture? Yes. There is definitely some moisture on this bottom paper. Okay. It would be hard for me to show it to you on camera. We're going to let this cool for a little bit, but I can see because of the way the paper is wrinkling. We're going to let this paper dry a little bit. I am going to reuse it, but I'm just going to use it on the top. Okay. Move this out of the way. Move these guys out of the way and bring this back. Now I did print off more than I cut just because I had very little MDF in the shop today. So we are going to do both of my children. I'm just going to tape them. Who is that? Oh, that's a boy. That's Joe. Okay. So, hey, whoever made this design did a really good job on the whole bleed thing, just saying. Hey, girl's got to toot her own horn every now and then. Okay. Let's find a Sarah. And I would like to give a huge shout out to Randy. Right now, she is vacationing. She's camping, and so she is away for a week. So if you do happen to purchase any of these items from Randy, she will get to them when she comes back on the 22nd. She gets back on the 21st. So you got to let her get in the office. So just so that you guys are all well aware, she is currently away, but I wanted to finish up our week with her by doing some of her stuff that I've been designing. It is warm in my shop. I turned off the fan so that you guys didn't have to hear the hum of the fan because that seems to annoy people, but I'm sweating to death. I am not lying. Okay. And let's talk about that too. With the heat of the summer, right, and how hot it has been for everybody across America, please stay hydrated by your heat press. It literally sucks the moisture out of you. And you can actually get like heat stroke, if you will, by standing too long in front of a 400-degree heat press. The other day I did over the last week and a half, I did 800 shirts. I did 400 in one day, and it was 90 degrees in the shop. And I can tell you right now, it's 87 degrees in the shop. So pardon me for drinking water. I'd rather not pass out today. All right. Whoops, that didn't stay. Oh, I forgot to push it down. That's probably why. Hold up. Oh, you are not doing this today. You will not believe the amount of people that will say they can't hear me because of that. What is that going on in the background, Nikki? The things I do for you. That's all I have to say. Okay. It is ready. Let's drop it. Drop it like it's hot. So, you guys are getting ready for Christmas in July. That's what we've been doing for this whole entire month so far. At the end of the month, I'm going to be doing my bundle giveaway. Or my bundle giveaway. It's not a giveaway. It's a bundle. And it's going to have 15 ornaments in it. I'm going to show you some sneak peeks of some of the ornaments that you're going to be able to find in that bundle that I will be selling. What is that bundle? It's to help you not brain. These are things that'll be pre-made, already ready to go, great for your vendor show. This way you don't have to sit and make them. And if you're not a laser person and you don't have a laser, these are already completed projects for you. They are a great value for what you're getting. So I'm going to go grab some of the things that I can show you already that will be launching out at the end of this month. It will be a very limited quantity. Please keep that in mind. It's limited quantity on these. So I don't want you guys to think that, oh, you've got all the time. Nope. This is limited. Give me 1 second. This is about to pop before I go across the room. Okay. Let that sit and cool. I'm showing you the prototypes right now. Let me just go to the bigger screen. Move on stage and go to me. There we go. So there are going to be a couple different ones. Again, these were the prototypes. And as I work on them and get them all finished, you guys will be able to see the finished product. Obviously, I will be taking a lot of pictures of them. Yes, you will be able to go buy these afterwards. So let me show you. You're going to get 2 different light up ornaments. One of them, whoops, it's going to be hard to see. Sorry. There you go. I'll turn it off so you can see what it looks like without it. So that's what it looks like without. That's what it looks like with it with. That's one version. And then again, here's version 2, because I've been making tweaks along the way. Don't worry, these are just sneak peeks. Okay, there's the house version, okay, of the snowflake. Now, if you are a laser person, you could go ahead and laser engrave a date on there if you wanted to, but you don't have to if you didn't want to. So you're going to get one of each of those lighted ones. You're also going to get the freestanding lace cardinal. And then you're going to get 2 different styles. So you're going to get 3 of each of these. And then there's one more I haven't completed yet, but it's all going to be painted. So you have to, so then there's these guys. They're the windows that are engraved. So you have you have the nativity scene on one, and then you have a winter scene with Santa and deer and all of that on the other. So you're going to get a total of 3 of these and 3 of the other style. There's 6 of those. And then you're getting 6 snowmen. So that's 15 ornaments for $45 shipped. I had to think about all that. Yep. So it's $45. You really have to just math that for 2.5 seconds. That's 15 ornaments. That's $3 an ornament if you average it out. Sure. If you buy them separately, it's definitely different pricing. But for this particular bundle, it is $45 shipped. There will be a limited quantity of 30. That's it. That's all I'm doing. I'm doing 30 of them. So only 30 of you who are very lucky to get them will get them. I start this coming week, literally making all of them. I am banking on that I'm going to sell all 30 of them and whatnot. So you will see the pictures. You will see the sneak peeks. You'll see all the little lovelies for that. So there's my shameless plug for the Ornament No Brainer Bundle Pack. All right, let's get back to Randy. All right. Now that these have cooled just ever so slightly, let's move this out of the way. Bring this up and over. I love these 2. We love the ones that are family style ornaments and things that we can put family names on, because that's what makes our industry a little bit different. It makes it so that we can go and do the thing. Whoo! She's still hot. Okay. Our message from Jingle. And an ornament for Jake. Okay, let's pull this all off. Okay. Now I have my glue dots. You can super glue these if you wanted to. You absolutely could super glue these. But for this particular one, we are just going to do some glue dots. We're going to put one here for Sarah. And come on. There. And for Joe. Okay. Could you still use glue dots? You absolutely could. But that's what it looks like when it has the names on it. It has the little, I'll get closer to the camera so you can see it. Okay. Grandma's Little Helpers. I probably could have moved it down a little bit more because I see a little bit of an issue, but that's a me issue. So there is that. And these hold a lot of elf heads. You can put some in here. Just depends on how you put them here. This fits a lot of elf heads. Okay. So there is that. Then we have the ornament right here. All you do, add some really cute, colorful beads. but really that's all you need to do. And it's supposed to hang just like this. I'll get closer to the camera. Okay. Now, somebody asked, could you hang the this? If you want this big type of thing, you absolutely can, but just remember it's going to hang like that. Okay. So you could hang it from this if you wanted to. You could get a little creative, but this was meant to be a shelf leaner. Okay. So he just kind of sits right like that. As you can see, he sits right here up on the shelf, and that's all that is. Great for a mantle and all of the things. Now, this guy is a message from Mr. Jake, right? Jake from State Farm. Right. I knew you knew it. All right. Let's get our little dry erase marker out. You want to use Expo markers if you can all possibly use them. Now, again, I'll show you where you could put this. If you wanted to hang this, again, it's right here is where you're going to want to loop that around. It does come with feet, and you can use it as a magnet. So you could hang this on your tree if you wanted to. It is rather large. It measures, I think, just quite not shy of 5 inches tall by, I don't know, we'll measure it. Can't remember the exact measurements I did on it. It is 6 by 5.5. Okay, so it's very large. All right, so again, take your Sharpie marker and make cotton ball snowman. Okay, and that's it. That's all you have to do for that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, you can use your dry erase markers. You could use whatever you need to do to wipe it off. I'm just using a wipey because that's what I happen to have handy. And that's it. So there you go. Today, what did we learn? This is what I like to call the recap of everything that I taught over this particular Sass. Please hold tight for all of the things. So let's turn this off so I don't get too hot. First things first, let's talk about this guy right here. We did the tree skirt. We taped all the way to the back. We put all of your ribbon to the back. Flip. If you're not going to do the board method, all right, where the board would literally be bigger than this, you could lay it out and you could take your two pieces and tape them together. Absolutely, you could do that if you wanted to. But let's say you don't have a board and you only have your press. That's okay. You're going to run your seam down. I would encourage you to put your seam on this one and go straight here. What you want to do is make sure that it is lined up perfectly. Did I have it lined up perfectly? No, I did not. Could you go in there with a green Sharpie and fix that? Absolutely, you can. Okay, so yes, I will show you that too. All right, so this is how you could fix this. This press, absolutely gorgeous. Pro tip, pre-press it before you print off of your stuff. So I only print mine 18 by 7.5. I probably should have gone 18 by 7 by 18 by 9.5. Why is that? Use the most amount I possibly could for the paper. And this way I don't have to worry about this part right here. Before I move on, you're going to say, Nikki, what do you mean? You can use a marker on that seam. Yes, you can. All right. Let's see if I have my green marker. That'd be great. I have a dark green marker somewhere. Let me get my dark green marker because yes, you can. You can save it sometimes. You can save it sometimes. We're going to use whatever green marker I have handy. Okay, so I could go in here and then I'm going to go in with a black. So I'm going to fill in this seam real quick. Oh, is my head in the way? Sorry. I'm going to fill in this seam a little bit. Only on that one spot. I'm going to go back and forth. And I will touch it up with a little bit of a darker color. Okay, but right now I'm just going in with a lighter green. Only in certain spots because I want it to slowly disappear. I'm not going to put it anywhere on this white, just in the little tiny spots. Okay, I don't want it to be as noticeable. Okay. You could go in and then you could be your own color artist, and you can go in and color match that. You add some grays, you add some greens, you keep adding blue because that's the color. If you don't want to bother with it, do the board method, piece it all together, put this together, and then you don't have to worry about this seam right there. But could you color over it? Yes, you can. Anyway, let's move on. So pre-press, get your size, moving right along. Whoop. Okay, next up, there we go. We talked about this right here. All right, so we pressed our Santa sack. We wanted to go in and put the name. What we did was we rolled 2 of Marvin's towels. We also put a piece of wood in underneath here, added a piece of the fabric over the top of it because why? It gives it a little bit of a cushion. We put our name on top of that, right? We slid it in underneath here. We found out where our center was. We went in and we pressed it for the normal amount. I held on to it. You want to make sure that when you're pre-pressing it, right? You're not going to pre-press it. I'm sorry. That you want to find your pressure. You're going to want to open this up all the way. I just happen to know that if I hold it down really nice and tight and then open it up, I can do it. You have to know your press. Please understand, you have to know your press. This would be a great thing to have one of those, like, I don't even know if Cricut's got a long one like that. I don't think they do. I just put my whole thing in just like this. This is pretty much all that hit underneath there, and it did not change this color at all. That's a beautiful thing. Sometimes that can happen depending on your heat press. So that's why we want to protect the things that we can. All right. So again, this is how you can add a name to something after the fact. Okay. Lastly, we talked about these guys right here. These are all the MDF products. Remember, anything over 8 inches, we really want to pre-press it. But during the summer months where it's absolutely humid, go ahead and pre-press all of it. It won't hurt it. Pre-pressing your MDF only protects your investments. It only, so you don't end up with modeling and weird sorts of colors, right? So go ahead and pre-press your MDF. Err on the side of caution always. I mean, that's just the nature of the game. This is great. You can hold up to 12 at least of these elf heads. You can use glue dots if you want, or you can super glue it. Or what you could do is put glue dots on the back and let your person decide where they want to put the names and leave it up to them. Really, it's up to you at the end of the day how you decide to package this up for your people. Okay, there's that. This is your dry erase messenger board from your elf. Okay, so Jingle would leave us little messages. He'll probably see it in the back with Jingle letting us know about certain things. So please keep that in mind as well. These are the ornaments. These are the elf hat ornaments. We decided to go kind of just gender neutral on this one. They do come in 2 different colors. They're flipped so that you can use them for whomever. Now, would you go in and press that? No, you wouldn't. You cannot press this after. Why? Because I did Jake in white. If I did Jake on black, I probably could. But because I did Jake in white, because I wanted it to pop, it is definitely something you have to do on site. Okay, this is an on-site one. This is okay. You can do this one on site. Not a big deal. You can also put the year right here in the pom-pom. There you go. Let me head over here.